This is the Jocko Underground Podcast, number 118, sitting here with Echo Charles, and you are a good person to discuss this subject with. That is how to treat other people.
Sure.
But I'm going to get a little bit more specific than just other people in general.
Yeah.
But how to treat people that, let's say, I guess a good way to describe this would be in the service industry. And the reason I say this is because you were a bouncer for many, many years.
Sure.
And I'm sure that you have experience. How many years were you a bouncer for?
7.
7 years.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of Friday nights. That's a lot of Saturday nights. What other nights was big down at the bitter end back in the day?
Friday, Saturday.
Just it?
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a lot of nights. You did that for 7 years. Think about that. It's a lot of experience interacting with other people.
Yeah.
So you got treated well, right? You got treated unwell.
Yeah.
Got treated poorly.
Yeah.
Maybe even you were disrespected at some time.
Sure. No doubt about it.
Give me an example of someone that would come in that you'd be like, I'm going to take care of this person. How'd they treat you?
Nicely. And
were they over the top? Did they have to slip you a hundo or anything like that?
they don't have to necessarily, but there are many ways to treat me nicely.
Okay.
As a bouncer, treat a bouncer or the doorman, whatever you want to call him, nicely. Bribery, yes, works for sure.
But can bribery cover up being an asshole?
It can mitigate it, but there's always it makes it kind of weird for sure. But if they have this weird expectation that it will, then no. But if it's like, if they're being a dick or whatever, and then they later on say, hey, I was a dick, and then they give you money, yes, it helps a lot.
Okay.
Even compared to if they just say, hey, I was sorry, even though that helps a lot. But if they say, I'm sorry, and they give you money, oh, you're flipped.
But what if they're rolling up to the door and they're like, hey, I got 4 friends. You need to let them in. Yeah. And they hand you a...
Yeah, like, and that has happened too. To answer your question, no, that does not help. So the kind, when they come in trying to like essentially, so what do you call it? So when you sub whatever, when they basically position themselves as like superior to you.
Oh, okay.
And like right off the bat and real aggressively, and then they throw out money, kind of like, here's your money kind of thing. Of course, you're going to let me do whatever I say I want to do kind of thing. Yes, that is the step in the wrong direction.
And you say, I'm sorry, sir, that doesn't work here.
Yes, sir. That's exactly what happened.
Now, so that's the nice example, or the good example of someone that you're going to take care of, kind of, meaning you're going to be cool to them. If something happens, you kind of be on their side a little bit, right? Yeah. If there's something goes down. Yeah. So how are they treating you? What are they doing to you?
Yeah, they're being nice. I would say treating you like a person and not just some spiel. Yeah, I think that's kind of what it is. Treat you like a person, like trying to kind of like, what do you call, level with you, I guess. If they can do a genuine good job with that, that'll work for sure.
How do you distinguish between... You ever had someone... There's 2 things I've been talking about. I was talking to someone about the other day. Looking someone in the eyes, right? But also saying your name.
Yeah.
For me, if someone says my name repeatedly, it seems weird. Yeah. It's one of those things, Echo, where when I hear it, I'm not sure why they're doing it. I can't quite figure out why they're doing it. Does that ever happen to you, Echo?
Yeah. So
you see what I just did? I did it twice.
Well,
but people do that.
Oh yeah, fully. And so yes,
it's a little awkward.
I'm very familiar with this phenomenon, and I did some thinking. So it might be spot on. It feels like it's spot on, but I don't know. You tell me. So when someone's trying to like. It depends on their personality, first off, because some people, that's how they talk. Like, you get an official talker, like maybe some news dude, and you talk to him in real life, like, that's how they talk a lot of the time.
Did you ever see Wolf of Wall Street?
Yeah.
So, in Wolf of Wall Street, one of the phone scenes where he's selling, Leonardo DiCaprio is selling something, some penny stock, he says the name. I think it's a little bit too much. Yeah. He's like, John, let me tell you, we haven't seen a stock like this in at least 6 months, John. I'm telling you, John, he says it like that. Right. Yeah. And I thought to myself, I get it. Yeah. I see what you're doing. Yeah. And maybe on the phone, maybe it's a little bit different. Maybe a little bit different.
I think you're right.
But it still is awkward to throw someone's name at the end of each sentence. It just, to me, doesn't seem right. I mean, is it the same to you, Echo?
It is the same, but to throw it in there like one time or like maybe maximum 2 times, depends. But like, for example, to throw it in one time does help, I think. But at the same time, there's pre and then there's post, right? So like then this is just a real general way of putting it, where if I'm talking to you, let's say there's this thing where maybe I'm trying to get something from you or convince you of something or whatever, and then you throw in the name, I think, I can feel that. But if they don't throw in the name and then afterwards, whether they got from you what they wanted or they convinced you of whatever, and then they throw it in once, then it works. It makes you feel better.
Okay. Let me get a little bit more specific.
Yeah.
We're at a a restaurant.
Sure.
There's a waitress. Waitress comes over. Hi, I'm Beth. I'm here to be server tonight. Okay, cool. Then she walks by and you go, Beth.
Yeah.
You call her by her name.
Yeah.
I would say, excuse me, miss. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It seems like when someone gives you their name and they're working as a waitress or a waiter, it seems a little strange to me to be like, hey, David. It seems weird to me. Yeah, I don't know.
You know what? Now that I'm even thinking about it, because there are all these examples that it kind of like, wait, that wouldn't work given certain circumstances, but that would work actually really well under other circumstances. Okay. Same scenario. So if it's almost like this weird wave that you got to go with like perfectly, and when you can land it, bro, you are rolling. But if you do it, if you're off step, like even like a little bit, it'll just work against you. I think so too. Like if someone's
give me an example of where it's gonna work.
Like say if it's a waiter, right, or a waitress, right? Instead of excuse me, you say Beth. You don't just bust it out necessarily. Like, I saw the name tag, so I'm just gonna start calling you Beth or whatever. Let's say you had some genuine questions about the menu or I don't know, something like this. And then it sort of came up naturally like, this thing. And, you and Beth kind of have a relationship now above and beyond just like, hey, here, take your order, blah, blah, blah. Because if she's just saying the normal stuff she'd say to every single customer, and then you start going above and beyond what the normal customer does, then you're out of step a little bit, just a little bit. So it kind of throws you off. But if you're like, hey, is there a gluten-free thing? Oh, what about this? Oh, and you're genuinely concerned about the menu, now your relationship gets a little deeper. See what I'm saying? Once that depth starts to develop a little bit, then you can throw out, oh, what's your name, by the way? Okay, Beth. Okay. I'm just saying, because you have a little bit more of a relationship that would warrant you calling her something a little bit more personal. Yeah. That's what it feels like.
I think I might be a little bit hypersensitive about the name thing. I think I might be overly sensitive. It's possible. I think I might be overly sensitive because to me, like I wouldn't be surprised if people said, no, it's very, I wouldn't be surprised if a waitress told me, no, we like it when you call. Like I wouldn't be surprised if that was the consensus and I just didn't know it.
Yeah.
It seems a little bit too personal though.
So I liked it as a bouncer. You brought this up because I noticed that shit too. When they're saying your name, you're like,
did you wear a name tag?
Yeah.
That said Echo on it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It seems a little bit much for me to say. Hold on a second, Echo. You know what I mean? Seems a little weird.
Yeah, beforehand. So, like, if the person didn't need anything from me, or if they were leaving or something, and then they said, like, it felt good, too. It felt good. Kind of like,
okay. See, I was wrong. I am wrong.
But on the way in, though, if they're like, hey, what's up, Echo? And I'm like, okay, I see what you're doing there. This is a pitch. It's some kind of a pitch, like on the Wolf of Wall Street or whatever. Like he's going heavy on the pitch. So it's not as genuine. But if they're saying it and they don't need anything from you, you're kind of like, well, he's just being cool now at this point. That's what I felt. You know who did that to me? Mario Lopez. You know who that is? San Diego guy.
Oh, yeah. The actor guy.
Yeah.
He's an actor,
AC
right?
Slater.
He's a jiu-jitsu guy, right?
Jiu-jitsu guy,
that's how I know him. I don't know him from acting. I know him from the jiu-jitsu. Wow.
I know him from everything. Okay. AC Slater days back in the day.
What's AC Slater?
AC Slater was his...
He's on a kid's show, right?
Yeah. Saved by the Bell.
Okay.
Hell yeah. So we're at the bitter end. Mario Lopez rolls in. I was like, oh, hell yeah. It was on an off night, too. It was like a Wednesday or something like this. He came in. Yeah. He had 2 guys with him. I checked their ID. Of course, I don't check Mario Lopez's ID, even though he had his ID already. That's how you know someone's cool. Yeah. He's not like, hey, you should know already, you know? And
do you know who I am?
Yeah. And
do you know who I am?
Bro, that's real, too, brother.
Did you ever have that happen?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Plenty of time.
By anyone that's recognizable to normal?
No.
So there's
Not
people
that
that were like, "Do you know who I am?
Yeah,
I'm famous in San Diego."
Yeah, like guys who like everyone knows me here, you know, like that kind of stuff. But so he rolled in or whatever. Two friends showed the ID or whatever, super nice or whatever. And he's a San Diego guy, so you'd expect him to be like, "Hey, you know who I am?" Nope, didn't. Right? Everyone knew I liked Saved by the Bell. They played this. This was kind of a big deal at the time. It was like a little prank they played on me. So anyway,
what's the premise of Saved by the Bell? What's it about?
Just teenage years,
the
struggle,
high school,
high school, the struggle.
Is he the main guy?
He's kind of the second guy.
Who's the main guy?
Zach Morris, who is Mark Paul Gosselaar. So he was like the popular main dude, and then there's AC Slater, who's kind of his rival. But Slater was the athlete who could dance. This guy could do anything.
Could dance.
He could dance good. He was an athlete. He played all these wrestler, like badass dude. He had big muscles and stuff. Yeah, he's the man. Anyway, so he goes in, the bartender, Casey Jones is his name, bartender, and then one of the waitresses, Maggie. They conspire. They tell Mario Lopez, they're like, "Hey, that guy Echo outside. He's like the massive fan of Saved by the Bell and you and all this stuff."
And that's for real?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This was like back in...
Wait, when did you watch Saved by the Bell?
Like in, high school, stuff like that.
What's
maybe,
it about?
No, like college time.
What's it about?
Right, it's like, bro, it's actually pretty good. It's funny now that if you watch it now, it's like kind of whatever, but like in its day, it's freaking good.
Wait, who would watch it? Was it meant for? I thought Saved by the Bell was for like 12-year-olds.
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah. I watched it as a grown-up, straight up. It was freaking fun. Anyway, it was an awesome show, in my opinion. Still is, by the way. So they tell him this, "Hey, that guy's a big fan of Saved by the Bell. Like, his name is Echo. He's, whatever. He's a big fan. Just so you know, that's what's going on." So he was like, "Cool." I didn't know any of this. I was just working. So he was leaving, and he kind of had this smile on his face or whatever, and he goes, "Hey, Echo, thanks, man." And I was like, man, this guy is the coolest guy probably in the world at this point, because he's like this massive star or whatever, and he's being cool, and he said my name. See what I'm saying?
So it helps.
It does help on the way out. He didn't say it on the way in.
There's the time for it.
Exactly right.
So, being nice to people that are in service roles is going to garner you a lot better treatment in that situation. This is the main point that I'm trying to make.
Right.
I was going to the airport the other day, and I see people getting treated like bad.
Yeah.
The service people. Bro, can people be jerks? Yes, they can, but it's also their job. They got to do the thing. Can you move your foot out of the aisle? Yeah, I'm sorry about that. You know what I mean? People get so hostile.
Like the flight attendant?
Towards a flight attendant, towards a TSA agent, towards a waiter, towards a waitress, towards, the guy behind the counter at the store. Like, if you're nicer. Here's what I know. So I used to have to make flights for myself and the Admiral when I was the Admiral's aide. Mm-hmm. And then I'd have to try and get seats on the planes, like try and get the Admiral a good seat, right? Try and get an upgrade on Delta. That is a little excerpt of what we are doing on the Jocko Underground podcast. So if you want to continue to listen, go to jockounderground.com and subscribe. And we're doing this to mitigate our reliance on external platforms so we are not subject to their control. And we're doing it so we can give you more control, more interaction, more direct connections, better communications with us, strengthen this legion of troopers that are in the game with us. So thank you. It's jockounderground.com. It costs $8.18 a month. And if you can't afford to support us, we can still support you. Just email assistance@jockounderground.com and we'll get you taken care of. Until then, we will see you mobilized underground.